Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full stack developers. Starting with Vim 8, you can use the terminal in a split window within Vim itself. To run a terminal in Vim, type terminal in command mode or term for short. When you launch a split terminal, it will be split horizontally, occupying half the screen by default. The terminal window should normally be displayed at the top, but because the split below option is enabled, it's displayed at the bottom. In Vim, the default for vertical split screen is that the new window is shown at the top, and for horizontal split screen, the new window is shown on the left. The terminal window closes when you exit the terminal. Since this area is where you execute external commands, you'll want to split it into smaller spaces than the text editing area. You can do this by specifying the number of lines to display in the rows option after the term command. To launch a vertically split terminal, prefix the term command with vertical or vert for short. Vertical splitting also splits the screen in half, but you can specify the desired number of columns with the calls option. The cursor doesn't blink in the Vim terminal, but in reality, the cursor in the terminal emulator itself doesn't blink. This isn't a critical issue, but the cursor remains unblinked until the terminal emulator is restarted. It's inconvenient to specify the area size every time you launch the terminal. Let's set this with a custom command. I created a user-defined function that splits the terminal horizontally and vertically, taking a size value, and I use it to call the custom command. If the variable is not present, the terminal window is resized to the preferred number of lines or columns. In the video, the number of lines is small to show it in a large enlarged format for readability, but in general, when working while splitting the screen, the number of lines will be higher, so 10 would be an appropriate number of lines for a horizontally split terminal window. However, since the total number of lines in the video is not that many, I will change the number of lines to 7. If the variable is 0, the window will be displayed in half the height. The vertically split terminal window can also be displayed in the preferred number of columns if the variable is not present. However, if the command line is too narrow, it can be inconvenient, so I set the default size of the vertically split window to half the width. While the default size of the vertical terminal window is already set to half the width, I also configured the variable 0 to maintain consistency with the custom command for the horizontal terminal. I will save the settings and immediately reflect the changes to the default size of the custom term. Running a custom term will launch a terminal window with 7 lines. Adding the number 3 to the end will launch a terminal window with 3 lines. Adding the number 0 to the end will launch a terminal window with half the number of lines. Let's also run a custom vterm. Without variables, it will run in half the space. Adding the number 40 to the end of vterm will launch a terminal window with 40 columns. Adding the number 0 to the end of vterm will launch the terminal in a vertical window occupying half the space. Let's reset the default value of the custom term back to 10. Saving will immediately apply the changes. Let's run a horizontally split terminal using the custom term. Since split terminals are also Vim windows, you can use window-related commands. Pressing Ctrl W and then pressing an arrow key will move the cursor to the window in the direction of the arrow. In terminal mode, Ctrl W is pretty much the only shortcut you can use in Vim. To enter command mode, you must also press Ctrl W and then the colon. Let's launch a vertically split terminal window in command mode. I'll run tree so that the output in the terminal window scrolls. To view past output, you need to scroll. In a terminal emulator, you can scroll with Shift Control and the up and down arrow keys, or Shift Control and page up and down keys, but this doesn't work in the Vim terminal. To suspend Vim and send it to the background, you need to press Ctrl Z, but this doesn't work either. I'll enter command mode by pressing Ctrl W and then colon. I'll run suspend to send it to the background and exit to the terminal. I'll launch tree so that the output scrolls. Shift Control and up arrow will scroll up one line at a time. Shift Control and home will scroll to the top. Shift Control and down arrow will scroll down one line at a time. Shift Control and end will scroll to the bottom. You can only scroll, you can't move the cursor, so you can't select or copy areas. Since there's only one background task, the job number should be 1, but I checked by running jobs. I'll bring the Vim task to the foreground. Instead of using scroll shortcuts, Vim allows you to use the terminal's output in normal mode. You can enter terminal normal mode by pressing Ctrl W, then a capital N. If you're actually typing, you'll need to press Ctrl W, then Shift N, which is a bit inconvenient. Another shortcut is to hold down Ctrl, then press \n N. Since N is lowercase, it doesn't require Shift, making it even easier. When you enter terminal normal mode, the highlight appears irregularly. Let's remove the highlight with No. You can move the cursor using H, J, K, L or the arrow keys. You can move the cursor to the top of the window with G. You can also enter visual mode and select an area. Selecting an area in visual line mode will also copy the new line character, so it's recommended to enter visual mode before copying. The last character at the end of the line is a new line, so it's best to select the area up to that point and copy it. I'll copy it to the system clipboard. Let's move to the bottom of the window with a capital G. Press I to switch back to terminal mode. In the terminal, data stored in the system clipboard can be pasted with Shift-Control-V. Bash shell shortcuts such as Control U can still be used. Although Vim's terminal is also a window, since a task is running, you cannot simply terminate it by running Q. You can force close the terminal with Q and an exclamation mark, but this is not recommended because it may still be running processes. It's better to close the terminal with exit. When the terminal closes, the window will also close. The Vim terminal can only be run as a split window. If you want to create a terminal page consisting of only non-split windows, you can use it instead of tmux. In the next video, I'll explain how to use the Vim terminal to split the terminal screen into multiple windows, select a desired area of output, and copy it instead of using an additional tool like tmux. Thank you for watching.